Well, hello. Just a very quick. I don't want to call it a tutorial because I don't feel as though I'm in the position um, to tutor. I'm just going to show you how to do like an audio recording with a bit of editing and a little bit of production using Garageband or Garageband, whatever you might call it. Um, Obviously for the Mac. So Garageband. Here we go. It's loading up. What I want to do just very quickly is just show you this completed project. Um, so I'll just open it. You can see it's there on my desktop anyway. Okay. Right, here we go. So this is like a completed project. Well, I'm saying it's completed because I've finished it. But what you've got here are the different tracks down. Got a little volume thing underneath which you're going to see. And what I've done is you can actually keep all of your audio on one track if you really wanted to. But what I've done is every song for the audio boo that I did, I created a new track. So as I scroll across to the right here, you can see the waveform of the audio here, and the blue line underneath the sort of this long icon blob thing is the volume of this piece of audio. So I'm scrolling to the right here, scrolling to the right. You can see here's the time. So this marker here is 1 minute 25, 1 minute 30. So then 5 seconds. Right, here you go. So so you can see there's a break in the audio there. That's because I just did a little bit of trimming to get rid of some noise. So one track comes to an end and another track comes in. So if I just play it by hitting space, clicking, left clicking once on the timeline, I'll play it by hitting space. With my dad in his so the top one there is the is me talking, and these ones are the audio tracks. So as I scroll to the right, I'm still talking. You can see that purple one there, still talking. Right, and now you can see this blue line has gone up. Now all I've done there is clicked to make a point on the audio level and dragged it up, but I'll show you how to do that. But all I'm basically showing here is the is a completed project that I did, and it'll give you some idea of how to do it. But audio goes up, so the audio's gone up at the end of the speaking part here. It goes on for another 4 seconds or so, 5 seconds, and then the audio fades down and out to nothing where that audio track ends, and this one kind of fades in, which mosquitoes. And you can see here's all the pieces of audio. And so as one ends, it fades out, and as another one starts, it fades in. So you get a nice crossover. There you go. You might need a fiddle. By the time I did about 4, I didn't even listen to the track anymore. I mean, I didn't listen to see if it faded in and faded out all right. I just kind of guessed. I trimmed the clip. Sorry, I just left click there. But I trimmed the clip to where I wanted the music to start. I'll scroll down here so you can see I've actually got many tracks. I don't know how many I've got. I think there's about 25 or 30, something like that. You can see them all down here. Here's all the tracks, and the last, you can see that. The last one, actually, the last bit of audio on the end of that audio boo. Where is it? Oh. Oh, hang on. Where's it gone? Oh, there it is. So, the end bit of audio that I did. So whatever the track that was there. Let's have a listen.
956.
Yeah.
You can say she got it.
So, it fades out and then I start speaking. Well, going to, as you can see. Now, what is this bit here? Well, if you click on an audio clip within a track, you can see that a larger, more magnified version of it appears here, and that's so you can accurately trim or go to a clip by viewing the actual waveform and looking at these spikes and these depressions, so you can see what is being said. So if I click on my voice there, I'm going to end there actually, so you can accurately scrub to a certain point, so you can see when I'm not speaking and when I am speaking. I'm going to end there actually with the great Bon Scott, the original. So, and the purpose of this is, hear this little bit here, that little me smacking my lips a bit. What you can actually do is you can cut that out, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. So that's the completed bit. So we'll get rid of that. When you open Garageband, you'll get this window. What do you want to do? Click on New Project. Double click. Oh, sorry. Let's try that again. New Project. Don't bother clicking on Podcast. You just click on Voice. We haven't got any. Each one of these is for that specific thing. So piano, guitar, and other acoustic instrument, they are specific for things that you're going to plug in. Each next window that pops up is tailored for those items. Voice is just a basic one, a flat and empty one. Loop specific loops, probably not interested in that. That's for music. Keyboards, it's tailored. The screen's tailored for keyboard input and. Sorry, I'm drinking my beer. Which you don't need that. Podcast. I know it's a podcast. It's not a podcast. An audio boo is not a podcast. An audio boo is just a piece of audio. Podcast, it will render it specifically, and there's a bit of code in there, XML code. Is it XML? I think it is XML code that it needs. But we're doing that, and we're not doing movie songwriting. So just click on voice and choose, or double click. You can save it as whatever you want and wherever you want. So let's just name this test audio. I'm going to save it on the desktop. We don't need to bother about this unless you're doing something specifically for music, because what it'll do is it'll preset anything you import to any kind of musical device, that is, to the time signature of 4/4, 120 beats a minute in C key, C major. But we're not interested in that. We don't need to worry about that for what we're going to do. So just hit create. It'll open all of the filters and things it needs to do. And what you can see here is, I'm just going to enlarge this window to about this, and you'll see why in a second. I'll just bring it up here. Okay. Now, what you can see now is these are 2 tracks here, and what we can do is add more tracks if we want. So this is formatted for male basic and female basic voice. What we don't want to do is, I say the formatted, it's like a pre-format. Basically what this is, you can change these icons here to whatever you want. But if you see here, they've named the track male basic. That's because they've applied a filter of a vocal and male basic. We don't need to bother with those. There's 2 ways to go around it, by clicking no effects. But what we can do is we can get rid of the track by selecting it. You can see it goes blue when it's selected. Incidentally, you can see by female basic, it goes to female basic on there, and they're just the filters. Um, if you push Command and backspace, it'll get rid of the track. Command, backspace, it'll get rid of that track. Now what we need to do is go to track and new track. It'll come up with these three things: software instrument, so like an electronic keyboard, for instance, that you're going to plug into the computer, a real instrument or an electric guitar. Take the pictures for what they are. So let's click on the microphone and hit create. Okay, so what we're going to do is use this as our voice track. I'm quite worked out how to, oh, there you go. Right, there we go. So we can, by double clicking on the name, we can change the title. So we'll say voice, hit enter. So we've now named it voice, and you can change the icon down here. Change the icon down here. So a picture of a mouth. There we go. I'll put a picture of the guy with the microphone. You can see there now. So anyway, this is our voice track. And if you want to record just voice, all we need to do is go to this section down here. Input source, monitor, are the two selections that you need to be aware of. So the input source is the microphone. What kind of microphone are you using, and where is it? What is it plugged into? Is it already installed? So at the moment I'm using a Logitech USB headset that's on my head currently. So yes, I want to keep that as the input source, because that's the input into the computer. If you haven't got a microphone and you're just using the microphone that comes built into your Mac or your computer, then you need to change that. It won't do it for me because I've got my I've got mine plugged in. But what you'll be able to do is click on there and select the fact that select inbuilt microphone, or built-in microphone it says. If you're wearing headphones, what I highly suggest is you switch the monitor on. And what that means is whatever sound is going into the microphone, you can hear in your ears. And this currently sounds really bizarre to me. You get like a frame of, or you get two voices at once that you can hear in your ears. But it's okay, when it comes out as one voice that's going into the computer, so you don't need to worry about that. Now what you can also see is, up here you can see the recording level on the left and right channel within the track. So the microphone is a mono microphone, i.e. there is only one microphone recording the sound. If there were two microphones built into the boom on the headset, two microphones built into it, then those green markers would move quite independently of each other. But what you can see there is they're moving they're both the same when they move. That means it's mono sound. There is only one microphone. He says taking a quick drink. And I think that's quite important to have the monitor on. You don't have to, but it's good practice to hear the volume of your voice. Just as a quick tip, whenever you are observing these monitor levels here, if they go into the red, if they turn red, I'm not going to shout louder now. Basically, the louder the input is, so the louder the music or the voice, the sorry, I'm getting tweets. The louder it is, the higher these green bars will go. So at a point they'll turn orange, and then when it's louder still, they'll turn red. It's probably when it turns red, that's known as peaking. You don't want it to peak into the red constantly. from time to time, if it just turns one bar into red, if it just touches red, then that's fair enough, but not when it's constantly in the red. Okay, another thing is up here is the timestamp on the audio track, as you can see. If you look down here, you can see that the time is set for measures and it's in beats. If you go to this little up arrow, click once, you can select what kind of display that you want along on your time bar. Click time, so it'll set it to 0, so you can see it's at 0 there, and you can see that it's at 0 there, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20, so on and so forth. This kind of timeline here, this time bar, you can increase or decrease the magnification by coming down to here and left clicking and dragging this little arrow. So if you drag it to the left, you kind of zoom out so you can see more of the timeline. Click it to the right, or drag it to the right, and you can zoom in all the way to here. So how do we record a piece of audio? How do you record your voice? Well, all you need to do, this is Garageband, what version is this? Garageband 11 version 6.0.5, which is build 428.5, and that's what I've got. You can record with this start and stop button here. However, on the previous version of GarageBand, the record button is up here on this section up here. Now, what's important here is that if you have a number of tracks, make sure the track that you want to record the voice on is selected. So there's only one track, but it's blue. Okay, so what we can do is hit start, and you can see now the red line is automatically going to the right, and that means it's recording our voice. And you know it's recording our voice because it's producing this waveform. So I can say something like this and it's quite big and it's loud and the waves are bigger, or I can talk like this and the waves are quite small. If we want to stop recording, we just hit the record button again. The audio track will continue playing, and to stop the audio track playing you can push spacebar or stop. And you can scroll back by scrolling left to right, maybe not, yep, and you can play it by left clicking once along the time bar, and you can see your header here. It's like, imagine it's like a tape head. Push space and listen, and you can see now the red line is automatically going to the right, and that means it's recording our voice. And you know it's recording our voice because it's producing this waveform. So I can say something like this and it's quite big and it's loud and the waves are bigger, or I can talk like this and the waves are quite small. Okay, so there you are, and that's recording a piece of audio. Now, you noticed before there that I had another little blue line underneath this which controlled the audio level, or the gain, the volume in other words. If you click on this little drop down arrow here, you'll see that the track volume select bar comes on. If you left click on the double selection arrow here, this little window will pop up. You can select it for track volume, track pan, or add an automation. Just leave it on track volume, so just leave it as it is, but what we have to do is activate it. So to activate it, sorry, I'm going to switch this monitor off because it's doing my head in. This is the interesting bit. This is why you need to have the monitor on. If we play now, waveform, so I can say something like this and it's quite big and it's loud and the waves are bigger, or I can talk like this and the waves are quite small. If we want to stop recording, we just hit, there you go, you see, so it reduced the volume of the audio track between this point and this point. Okay, what about, you saw that I had a background audio track on there. Excuse me. So what you need to do is get a piece of audio to lay down there as a track. What you have to be careful here is copyright. So you have to have permission of the permission of the owner. I don't think many people get the permission of the owner. What I do is I've got some audio with a Creative Commons license, so it can be shared in iTunes. So you go to the track that you want, and there's two ways of doing this. You can either get your audio and throw it onto the desktop, or you can just drag it in directly from iTunes. So here's an audio track. I'm just left clicking and dragging onto here. Yeah, that went off for some reason. And here is the audio track. Let's select that one. That's why the monitor level was off for that track. So let's select that. So here's our new audio track here, which is, it's overlaid. So basically, if you play to hear your voice, you're going to hear this track as well. So here we go. Play it. And you can see now the red line is automatically going to the right, and that means it's recording of... Okay, so you couldn't hear me at all there. So what I had to do was, when I was talking, is go through this procedure here. Was to reduce the audio track for the bit that I wanted to speak on, but still have the music playing in the background so much that you can hear it. So these, oh, getting invaded by moths now. These audio clips you can drag left and right along, left click and drag along your timeline. Basically wherever the left edge is, that's where it'll start within your whole audio compilation. The Bird in the Hand soundtrack, the music is going to start straight away because I'm on 0 seconds, and the voice is going to kick in. If we drag it to there, the voice will kick in on at 5 seconds. But what we want to do is lower the volume of the music when my voice kicks in. So we want to start my voice at 5 seconds, but at that point we want to bring the level of the volume down for the entirety of the voice track. This being the voice track here. So again, we want to select the audio level for the Bird in the Hand track. There it is. And what we want to do is bring the audio level down between there and there. Okay. So if we kind of click here, you'll see what I'm going to do in a sec. And click here. And if I bring that down, it's going to bring the left hand side down, isn't it? Right. Click a second time to bring another control. Left click and drag down. Is that about it? Let's see, it was minus 18.5 decibels, and we'll have another one here. Well, minus 18, you won't be able to tell, 0.5 decibels. So you can see what's going to happen here is the music will very steadily go down, and then it'll be at a certain volume, and then it'll slowly go up again. So we don't want it to go suddenly down, so we can left click and drag this control slightly to the right. Come on, where are you? Oh, not off. 18.5 it was, wasn't it? It's very... I suppose you need to zoom in on this bit so you can get a... There we go. Okay, so what we can see here is the volume of this audio track is going to start here to go down, and it'll still be going down as I start speaking. So let's zoom out a little bit, scroll across to the left, push play. And you can see now the red line is automatically going to the right, and that means it's recording our voice. And you know it's recording our voice because it's producing this waveform. So I can say something like this and it's quite big and it's loud and the waves are bigger, or I can talk like this and the waves are quite small. If we want to stop recording, we just hit the record button again. There you go. So you get the picture out. Now one thing I want to highlight is, if I zoom out just a little bit more, can you remember we at the start there we brought down the volume of a section that was overlaid here. Now that I've moved that clip to the right, the volume adjustment here stayed where it was. That's just something that you bear in mind. Now listen, like I said, I'm not an expert in this. There probably is a way to lock the audio level here to the actual clip on the track, but I do not know how to do that yet. Plain and simple. Okay, so let's say you want to add another track. Just go to another piece of audio. I don't know that you want to do this, of course. And what you can do is one of two things. You can either left click and drag it down into this space down here, because it says drag Apple loops here, but it's not a loop, so don't worry about it. It just means drag your piece of audio where it says this. Or you can actually drag it up here. There you go. And what it does is it adds it to the point where that black line appeared. I'll just do that again. Left click and drag. See that black line? That's where the music is going to start. Okay? So don't put it there. Put it there. Left click. Release your left mouse button. There you see? Black line was there. It started there. And you can see sometimes that waveform doesn't appear straight away. So what we've got here is this piece of audio now will play at exactly the same time as this piece of audio, which we don't want because it'll sound awful like this. There, okay. So what we need to do is probably fade this music out or move this one to the right. This is one way to do it. As you adjust the single track with a second clip on the same track, or you can just left click and drag this. No, you can't. No, you can't. You'd have to create a new track and left click and drag it onto a new track. Or when you bring your music on, you can, if you drag it down here, it forms a new track. Like that. So now what I did before was, if we just bring up our track volume, faded out this audio and faded in this audio. And to do that, you do just create a reduction in the volume. In this case, because we're going to fade it out, we're going to drag that all the way down to minus 144 decibels, which is silence. So now, from this point on, you cannot hear this audio track. this audio track, once it starts, as we can see here, it will continue to be the same volume throughout. So, but we want to fade it in. So what we can do is we create 2 points, one here, so and one, let's say, just about here, and then on this bit we can drag that down. So there's zero. Well, there's zero volume because it's not playing. It doesn't start until that track. We don't have to worry about that line going down because there's no actual track. There's no clip there for it to play until it gets to this point. So what's happening now is that's fading out and this is fading in. Let's see what that sounds like. So the music you're hearing now is this track here because this track has no volume. So to simplify what you're looking at on the screen, what we can do is we don't need all of this. We don't need to see it, and it doesn't need to be there. So we can get rid of sort of this point. We can get rid of from this point onwards. And to do that, what you got to do is left click once to select that track. And now I can't hear myself. Why not? Oh, because the volume's all the way down. And you can push Command and T, which splits the track, or you can go to track. Where does it say split track? Edit. There you go. Edit and split. But you can see pushing Command and T will split the track as a shortcut command. So Command and T, and you can see that it splits the track. You can see that the fact that it's now 2 clips. We can drag that away. You see. Now we don't need this one anymore, so let's get rid of it. So you left click it to select it, which it is. It's turned dark orange, and push the backspace key. Gone. And that's basically it. Easy peasy. So let's listen to it from the beginning. And you can see now the red line is automatically going to the right, and that means it's recording our voice. And you know it's recording our voice because it's producing this waveform. So I can say something like this and it's quite big and it's loud and the waves are bigger, or I can talk like this and the waves are quite small. If we want to stop recording, we just hit the record button again. And you can hit pause or stop down here to stop. And there you go. So there is your audio track. So how do you export that now once you've finished? What I'd recommend is saving the project, file and save. So it just saves what you've done. And then track. Where is it? There we go. Share. Oh, I thought it was track and share, but share. Export song to disk, and this is the compression settings here. Mine has been set to this from the audio booth that I did last night. So compress it, which compressing is size, isn't it? I don't think it's audio quality. No, it's not, because you get a selection here. So you can the compressing actually is what is the method in which, or the file type that you want to save. So it's automatically set as the Apple's AAC encoder, and I've selected MP3. To be honest, Apple AAC encoder is a better quality codec than MP3 file format, but I've just left it at MP3 because I might want to share it later on. And the audio settings are by default to high quality, but I selected it to higher quality. And then you go export, and it'll bring up where do you want to save it. I'll just put MP3 on the end so we can see the difference as an icon. It's not a bad idea to, if you're saving it in a multitude of file formats, or AAC and MP3 differently each time, then you might want to do that. I personally do, and then you can select here where you want to save it. For the minute, I'm just going to save it on the desktop. Hit save, and it will go through its saving process. It'll convert. It's quite quick actually. The audio boo I did was 17 minutes. Oh, it's done it. The audio boo that I did was 17 minutes long. And it only took about less than a minute to save. So there it was seconds. So let's just minimize these things, and there it is. There's the project. That's the one that I did yesterday. This is the project that we've just created, and this is the MP3 that we've just done. In a Mac, if there's an MP3 track and you double click it, and it's not already in your iTunes library, if you double click it, what it'll do is it'll copy it into your iTunes library automatically. But there you go, there's the file ready to be uploaded to AudioBoo or whatever you want to do with it. Good job.